Hey there, folks. Welcome to another edition of Time About the Movies. We're looking at Friday the 13th, the weekend of Friday the 13th in October 1989. We've got 5 movies to look at today, so let's go ahead and get right to it. We're going to start off with the biggest movie that came out this weekend, and big for a number of reasons that we'll delve into. Amy Heckerling's comedy Look Who's Talking, with Bruce Willis as the voice of Mikey, along with John Travolta and Kirstie Alley. Yeah, Look Who's Talking ended up becoming a gigantic hit when it came out this weekend. No one really expected it to do as well as it did. Got pretty decent reviews. I think even, if I remember right, Cisco and Ebert gave it 2 thumbs up, which, if you got 2 thumbs up there, you're pretty much good to go. But this movie really took a lot of people by surprise. It was not only a big hit on its opening weekend, but it stayed as the #1 grossing movie for 5 consecutive weekends. It didn't drop out of the top spot until the 17th of November, and you have a couple of movies that came out that weekend that would that would be because of that. But I mean, what more can you say about this movie? It's actually a pretty funny movie. I mean, John Travolta is great in this movie. This was like a rare boost to his career, because his career was not really going anywhere at this point. He was great in the movie. So was Kirstie Alley. So was Olympia Dukakis. Ava Vigoda's great in this movie, and of course Bruce Willis playing the baby Mikey. He really fits that role very well. It's a great performance by him in this movie. And the success of this movie really prompted a lot of copycats. Like, you had a lot of movies with babies becoming the centerpiece of the film. You had films like Undercover Blues, and even the Look Who's Talking series started kind of ripping itself off, pretty much starting with the second movie. But we'll get into that, because that came out the year afterward. But then you had the TV series Baby Talk, which came out 2 years after this movie did, which was basically just Look Who's Talking, the TV series, except it was Tony Danza playing the baby, and the baby was not named Mikey, the baby was named Mickey. Yeah, they literally just put a C there to make it seem like it's different, but I guess it worked because it ran for 2 seasons, so that's more than you can probably ask for. But yeah, not much more I can say about this one. Look Who's Talking. It's a great comedy. If you haven't seen it already, you probably should definitely see it. So that's Look Who's Talking. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, a horror sequel that's not Friday the 13th. That probably should have been released on Friday the 13th, but it's Halloween 5, The Return of Michael Myers. Or The Revenge of Michael Myers. As soon as I stopped recording, I started realizing Return was the last movie, and Return pretty much prompted this movie to be coming out as quickly as it did, because the 4th movie was a big success compared to what happened with Halloween 3 at the box office, even though Halloween 3 is probably the better film when you really look back on it. Halloween 4 is not a bad one either. Halloween 5 definitely feels like a rush movie. I feel like they rushed this one out because it was coming out on Friday the 13th, and it just didn't live up to the expectations that I think this movie wanted to. Even if you had Donald Pleasance back as Lupus, and you had Daniel Harris back from the first movie, Dr. Sam Lewis, I should say, Donald Pleasance played. But, yeah, it just didn't really have that same spark that the last movie did that made that one such a success. And Halloween would eventually take kind of this deep downfall after this, because the Curse of Michael Myers wouldn't come out until 95, and that one just was a mess altogether. But we'll get to that 6 years from now. But, Halloween 5, not as good as Halloween 4. Definitely very underwhelming compared to the other movies, but it is what it is. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and the next movie that is Michelle Pfeiffer, man. Michelle Pfeiffer makes this movie work. I mean, you have Jeff Bridges and Beau Bridges. They're both fantastic in this, but I'm telling you, man, Michelle Pfeiffer just fantastic in this movie on so many levels. She's very sexy in this movie. She's given a great performance. She's a pretty damn good singer, which she would later redo again down the road with Murder on the Orient Express. You ever heard her song in the movie? That's actually pretty good too, so definitely listen to that one. But she really makes this movie. I mean, she nearly won every single acting award during the award season. Everyone except, of course, for the Academy Awards, because heaven forbid if Michelle Pfeiffer actually wins an Oscar, we got to give one to Jessica Tandy before she croaks to death. But Jessica Tandy was good in Driving Miss Daisy, but I'm sorry. If you're asking me to compare performances, this was the best performance she ever is of that year. I mean, Michelle Pfeiffer is just great in this movie. And like I said, Jeff and Beau Bridges, they work really good together in this movie. They really are very good. You like the chemistry between all three of these people. The writing is very good. The music is well done. The camera work is very good. Dave Grusin, who did the score for St. Elsewhere, he also did the score for Working Girl. Fantastic. The cinematography is great. It's just a phenomenal movie that, again, not a lot of people I don't think really talk about this one, but they really should. The Fabulous Baker Boys, it's a phenomenal movie. If you haven't seen it already, definitely check it out. So, that's my thoughts on The Fabulous Baker Boys. Let's go ahead and, you know what we could use right now? How about a new Woody Allen movie? Crimes and Misdemeanors was Woody Allen's last movie of the decade. Pretty good decade, even though it's not a whole lot of his movies were huge commercial successes, but they were very good. But they were all very good movies. You know, movies like The Purple Rose of Cairo, Hannah and Her Sisters, September. I'm trying to see some other ones here. He did the short for New York Stories, Broadway Danny Rose, Radio Days, Another Woman. You know, these were all pretty good comedies. They did not do well at the box office, but much like this one did. But this is probably maybe the best one from this decade, the best movie that Woody Allen made, because Woody Allen, once again, writing and directing, giving a good script, direction, and starring in the film as well. Great cast involved here. Alan Alda, Mia Farrow, Joanna Gleason, Angelica Houston, Martin Landau, Jerry Orbach, Sam Waterston. Just a great movie, great storytelling. The camera work, very well done. Great music overall. You go to Woody Allen movies, and this is basically what you get here. It's one of my favorite movies from him. It's definitely one of the best movies from him from this decade. And, yeah, pretty good movie. Pretty good movie. Crimes and Misdemeanors. So, let's go on and wrap it up with the last movie, and that is Burt Reynolds and Casey Siemaszko in Breaking In. Directed by Bill Forsyth. This may be one of Burt Reynolds' most underrated movies. It wasn't a gigantic hit at the box office. It kind of petered out, came and went. But when you look back on it, the movie actually, I think, is a lot better than I think a lot of people gave it credit for. I think it's a movie that is much funnier, it's much more clever, it's much more smarter than I think a lot of people gave it credit for. Burt Reynolds, like I said before, he was kind of on this lull streak this streak where he wasn't making the best movies. His career was kind of taking a downfall. But this was kind of one of those, like I said, it's one of those movies that I don't think a lot of people really talk about. But it's a movie that I think really is a lot better than a lot of people give it credit for. I like the chemistry between Reynolds and Siemaszko. Lorraine Toussaint from Orange is the New Black is also in this movie. She gives a really good performance. Stephen Tobolowsky's in here. Maury Chaykin. Harry Carey actually gives a good performance in this. Sheila Kelly, who you would see on L.A. Law and Sisters, is very good in this. It's an overall really good movie. I don't think a lot of people give it a lot of credit. It's definitely one I think a lot of people should definitely go check out if they can find it. Breaking In, Burt Reynolds, one of his most underrated movies in my opinion. And with that said, that's going to wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. Next week, we look at the weekend of October 20th. We've got Patrick Swayze returning on the big screen in the action thriller Next of Kin. We also have the comedy Gross Anatomy, starring Matthew Modine and Daphne Zuniga. Paul Newman in Fat Man and Little Boy. And also When the Whales Came. So, 4 movies to look at next time around. Thank you guys for watching. And as always, if you want to see more videos like this, check out the playlist on the next page. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for another new episode. So thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And until then, take care.